Welcome to Sustainable Packaging with Cory Connors. Today's guest is my friend, Mr. Josh Brooks, who's the Marketing and Communications Director at Easy Fairs. Hey, Josh, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Cory. Thanks for taking the time. Nice to see you.
It's an honor to interview you. I'm a big fan of what you do and your company does. But let's talk about Paris Packaging Week, which is what you'll be putting on here. And tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your background. How did you get into this?
Yeah, cool. Okay, so my background, actually, I started off professionally as a journalist. I lived in France for a couple of years straight out of university. I came back to England because I'm British. I went back to London and had a career for a few years as a journalist in the business-to-business press. As it happened, particularly writing about the printing industry and then later on the packaging industry. And I had some shorter periods writing about the electronics industry and the construction industry and the property industry. So various areas that I covered. And I ended up as publisher of a magazine called Packaging News, which is in the UK, and many of your listeners, I'm sure, will know. And from there, I joined Easy Fairs. I had a long-standing relationship with Easy Fairs, the event organizer, because we were their media partner. And in 2018, so nearly 5 years ago now, I joined Easy Fairs, and I've never looked back. I started off working as business development director for their packaging portfolio, and then 3 years ago now moved to Paris and started working on the shows that we run in Paris. So it's been, it's been a fun adventure. Lots of time in packaging, lots of time in printing, but it's all good. It's all fun.
It sounds like it's a perfect fit for the industry and for you. That's pretty cool when that kind of stuff happens. But I'm excited, as somebody who's going to Paris Packaging Week, I'm excited to learn more about it. And can you tell us about the event and what to expect?
Yeah, of course. So it's actually 4 events that we consider to be separate events but co-located. But together, I'll tell you about those in just a second. But together, these 4 events make up what we're calling Paris Packaging Week, and we're pitching it as the greatest festival of packaging innovation in the world. Yeah, that's a big claim. We hope that we can live up to it. But so what are the 4 events? They're 4 events that are each focused on a particular industry. They're the longest established is called PCD, which is an extremely well established event for the beauty packaging industry, so personal care, perfume, and cosmetics. Then there's ADF, which is the only annual event for the aerosol industry in the world. So it's all about innovations in aerosols and dispensing. Then the third one, or in no particular order, but the third one that launched was PLD, which was packaging of premium and luxury drinks. Now we just call it PLD. And so that's essentially for the wine and spirits industry, but it brings in other premium drinks in mineral waters or in spirits or soft drink mixers, things like that. And then the new addition to the Paris family is Packaging Premiere, which is the new launch for the 2023 edition in January, which covers the other 25% or so of the luxury packaging market that isn't covered by the beauty and drinks sectors. So Packaging Premiere will cover areas like confectionery, like fine food, like jewelry and watches, and all of those other bits of fancy and luxury and premium packaging that you would find in a luxury retail environment or in a fashion retail environment.
It's exciting, and it's coming up soon here, January 25th and 26th in Paris, France. And you've just opened the awards section of the event, so people can apply to win an award at your show. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So we run 3 awards programs that are linked to PCD, ADF, and PLD. So the beauty part, the aerosols show, and then the drinks show. We haven't yet launched one for Packaging Premiere, and we may do in the future, but that's to be decided. And yeah, the entries are open. We're very, very proud of the judging panels that we put together. So we will have very top packaging innovation directors and design directors from many of the world leading brands in these sectors. So we have very senior people from Chanel or from L'Oreal or Coty on the beauty side,
Mhm.
and many others, LVMH, of course, and then on the drink side, we'll have very senior people from the likes of Pernod Ricard or Remy Cointreau, these sorts of companies, and then Unilever, Beiersdorf, P&G, and so on the aerosol side. And really what we're looking for is to highlight and to celebrate the greatest technical innovations and production excellence in the market. So we're really looking for what's new in terms of interesting material usage. Obviously, sustainability comes into it massively in every project. There's a sustainability element, but it's also user experience of the packs. It can be very technical issues around how the pumps and valves work, these sorts of things. And then there is also, of course, an element of creativity, of design, and so on. But it's not a graphic design or branding contest. It's a competition that really rewards technical innovation. So there's lots of information about this on the website at parispackagingweek.com under the awards tab. The deadline for entries is in mid-November. I think it's the 14th of November. So I'd encourage everybody to go and have a look and get involved. But it's really it's a very prestigious set of awards. We hand them out at the show. At Paris Packaging Week, we run ceremonies there, and yeah, it's a very cool thing to be part of. And I think, you know, for me, we really want to position the events that we run as driving innovation and celebrating innovation, and really, you know, bringing the achievements of our community to the fore. So it's really exciting for us, and it's sort of meaningful and important for me personally to be involved in this. We have some really cool examples of very small brands who have entered, who've done something that the big brand owners would never think, and who have won. And you know, you have people from, you know, people who are the biggest influencers in the world almost in their markets, sitting around a table looking at something that a small startup has thought of and come up with. And it's a very, you know, in our world professionally, it's a very special experience. So yeah, it's a very cool thing to be part of.
I've always thought that awards level the playing field a little bit, and I think that what you're doing is an amazing opportunity for all brands, but especially small brands, to say, hey, we can do this too. We can be sustainable, we can be innovative. And that's, so kudos to you for stepping up that way.
Thank you, 100%. And I think, you know, the exciting thing is that the small brands, you know, especially if it's a brand that is being launched by one person who knows nothing about packaging, but has a very particular view of, you know, I'm thinking of one particular example, which is a brand called Junie Cosmetics, that was set up by a lady who had a real sort of purity of vision, that she wanted her lipstick pack to be purely one material, absolutely monomaterial, and it's very difficult to achieve. But she worked with somebody and came up with 100% aluminium lipstick pack, and the bigger brands would not look at things in that way, because they have other, you know, they have experience, and they have a different, you know, they have a different way of looking at it. And so yeah, I think it's really exciting to be able to bring to the fore the startups, the indie beauty brands, the craft brewers and the craft distillers and so on, who have that a fresh way of looking at it.
Well said, very true. Who should go to this kind of a show? Should all types of people in the industry go, or is there specific, you know, is it for designers?
I mean, we try to make the show relevant to anybody who is involved in packaging decisions in the markets that we are covering. So when we think about the profiles or the job titles of people who we're trying to attract to the show, there will be people in marketing and brand management, there will be people in design and in design agencies, there will be many packaging technologists and packaging engineers working at brands, and there will be many people in procurement and purchasing type roles. And what we try to do at the event is we try to create environments that are relevant to all of those people. So we team up, for instance, with our friends at the Pent Awards, which is a big global design competition. It's run by colleagues of ours within EasyFairs, and they put on a gallery of a selection of winners of their competition, which celebrates the world's very best graphic design and branding, primarily in terms of packaging. So we have something that's very definitely for the marketing and branding community. And then we have talks that cover branding, marketing, design, lots of sort of bigger issues around, I don't know, the metaverse and packaging, or the inflation crisis and the cost of living challenges and packaging, or I don't know, remote validation of production runs for people involved in packaging, and you know, in the world of COVID and how we all work remotely these days. And so we try to sort of bring in all of these different aspects to make sure that we're giving a vision of the future of, you know, where can I go with my next project, and how do I solve my problems if I'm the packaging designer or buyer or the marketing person. You know, what are the options to me? And of course, I can't talk about all of that without talking about our exhibitors, and we have around 600 exhibitors at the show, so it's a big event in that sense. You know, it's a lot of exhibitors. It's impossible to see everybody, of course, but it means that within these markets that we're covering, in the aerosol markets, and then in the sort of broader premium and luxury products market across beauty, drinks, and the other luxury sectors, we're trying to create an environment where people can come and not only be inspired, but actually solve their problems, find new solutions, find new technical solutions or new materials, and so on, and really sort of drive their own innovation products. And I should say as well, before I forget, Cory, so in terms of the looking forward to our 2023 event, we have the big news about the launch of Packaging Premiere, which is a big new sector for us. And then circling back to ADF, which is the aerosols and dispensing part of the show, I want to make sure that your listeners know about a new partnership that we have struck with the FEA, which is the European Aerosols Federation. It's the biggest aerosol federation, certainly in Europe, possibly in the world. It brings together 28 different national associations, and they are working with us as partners on ADF. They previously ran an event of their own, which was called the Global Aerosol Event, which ran every 2 years, and that will now be integrated into ADF from this year. So it really, you know, I think obviously, you know, we're very happy that it strengthens ADF as an event, and I think it will create a better experience and help us bring more people both to our exhibitors and more exhibitors for our visitors. But I think it also underlines, you know, we work very hard as an organization to create partnerships with the influential people, and you know, I include you in that. But also, you know, the important media, the important associations. We work very hard at being friends and with these people and including them to create this community around the event. So yeah, it's very cool. You know, I'd like to thank, for what it's worth, the people, you know, the team at FEA, because we're really proud to be working with them. But on a broader note, I think it's, you know, it's testament to, not to me, but to my team who are really great at building that family around the events that we're running.
It does sound like a family. It sounds like a real community that you've built, and I'm enjoying this sense of just networking and working together to make packaging better, make it more sustainable, make it more efficient. All of these things it just seems like this group of people that are collaborating together to improve the world of packaging. Is that the feeling you get?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really what we're, you know, it's the sort of higher purpose of what we're trying to do. You know, we're a commercial organization. You know, we make our money by selling stands at shows and by bringing visitors to see them. But no, I mean, the mission and the purpose is to give this sense of, you know, what does the future look like for for any individual visitor or exhibitor who's participating, what does the future look like for me? But more broadly, what does the future look like for this industry that we're part of? And yeah, I mean, and another cool thing that my colleague organizes is we put together, on that note, thinking about the future of people in the industry. We collaborate with two packaging schools and sort of perfume industry management school in Paris.
Wow.
And we have big brands like Estee Lauder or Shiseido or Huda Beauty who will set briefs for teams of students to come up with new solutions to problems that they're facing. And sometimes it's, for instance, last year we worked on a kind of age-old conflict or challenge between, how do you create a luxury experience that is also going in the right direction in terms of sustainability? And that's a very big question for our work.
Very hard, yeah.
But bringing in, again, thinking about like fresh ideas and who's going to be making the decisions in the future and influencing the future, it's really cool to bring in students into this question and to highlight their work at the show and to put them on stage and give a vision of, how does Gen Z see the future and what do they expect, and what developments do they want to create in this world when they become the professionals who are running the place? And it's
so important.
It's very cool to bring these people together. Yeah,
that's so important. I couldn't agree with you more. They are the future of our world of packaging, and they're going to take the reins here sooner than we realize. I wanted to ask, as someone who's going to Paris for the first time, any pro tips for a first-time visitor? Anything I should make sure to see or make sure to avoid?
Wow, that's a big question. Yeah, this is the hardest question of the interview so far, Cory. But yeah, I mean, Paris is, for me, it's my dream city. I'm so lucky to live here, and what I love doing is just walking. Yeah. So I tend to avoid, you can see the sights, you can see the Champs-Élysées and the Arc de Triomphe and Notre Dame and whatever, but what you need to do is, on a Sunday morning, just go and walk, and you will find markets, and you will find cafes, and you'll find beautiful architecture, and you will find weird and wonderful and fascinating people and weird and wonderful things happening. And in particular, so I've just thought of this, my favorite thing is actually to go along the river. Paris has, a few years ago, it closed the roads that go along the riverbanks, and they're now areas where they're now spaces where there are bars and restaurants, and but people go and do like skateboarding, or there'll be an area where people are dancing, and then there'll be somewhere else where people are doing fitness, and then somewhere else where somebody's, I don't know, where there's lots of street art, or also or a children's playground, or music playing. And it's the center of a big city, but you get these little tribes, I suppose, little groups of people doing interesting things and sort of creating interesting little communities that you don't necessarily expect to find. And I think, amongst all, Paris is famous for being beautiful and, the capital of luxury and the capital of beauty. And of course, that's why we run our event here from a commercial perspective. It's the right place to be. We're in the heart of the community. But Paris is also, what people don't know about it is that it's a very, very livable, it's very dense, but it's very livable, and there are really cool things happening almost at every turn. So
wow,
I think just go on walk, and you'll see the big sights, but you'll see the little slices of life that are really, charming and heartwarming and beautiful to see.
It sounds like an amazing place to be, and a perfect place for Paris Packaging Week, and just an incredible event like this. So I can't wait to go, and can't wait to see all of this in person.
Yeah, well, I'll show you around. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir. How do people get in touch with you and Easy Fairs if they want to join?
Yeah, sure. So all of my contact details and contact details of my team are all on the website. So the place to look is parispackagingweek.com. People can register to attend the event from there as well. It's a pretty quick sort of 3-4 minute registration process. So we asked some questions about who our visitors are. We like to know what it is that they're looking for, because that helps us create a better event for the future. But no, registration is open already. But yeah, parispackagingweek.com is the place to come. And I was thinking about you earlier, because I was thinking about the west coast of the States, because we've had a couple of registrations from Apple, which I was not expecting. Yeah, wow. You've heard of them. We all have. And you know, it's cool to think that, you know, alongside the big beauty brands and the big drinks brands and so on, and the big consumer goods brands,
right?
It's exciting to think that what we're doing means something to the wider, you know, to the wider world of people who are looking to do innovative stuff.
Yes.
And so yeah, it was nice. It was nice to see those registrations coming through.
It's going to be an amazing time for all people, but I think if you're looking for inspiration in packaging, what a great place to go. Even if these aren't your specific niches, Apple would be a perfect fit for this. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of, you know, they and others are creating effectively luxury products in beautiful, luxurious packaging. And, you know, it's all about consumer experience. You know, we have car companies coming. We have obviously lots of fashion companies coming, and they're all, you know, alongside the nuts and bolts, if you like, of which bottle do I want, or which cap or valve. It's also, what's the consumer experience in this wider world, and it's so, you know, it's very gratifying, of course, for us, but I think it's great to get that diversity of sort of interest and so on coming to the show, and of course a very international flavor. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's very exciting.
Very good. Looking forward to seeing you and seeing all of you listening at Paris Packaging Week in January 25th and 26th. We'll see you there. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. See you there. Thank you so much, Cory. Take care. Speak soon.